Hey guys, back again looking at aircraft kits. This week we're going to be looking at another Hasegawa 32nd scale air kit with their BF109E kit. Let's open her on up and take a look. So, right out of the gate, you can see that the kit's very similar in terms of detail levels as the P51 kit we've previously looked at. Albeit, one thing that is a lot different is the level of riveting detail is much more subdued. Hopefully this will show up on camera. But in comparison, it's a lot more subtle, which you would expect on the 109E, but I digress. Continuing on, probably one of the weaker points, at least on this sprue, is the seat. It's very simplistic. The seat belts are fairly bland and not overly done. I would say it's almost worthwhile to sand those down and either go aftermarket or make your own or print up some decals. Beyond this, we got our cockpit sidewalls, which are acceptable in this scale, as well as our front control panel, which again hopefully will show up on camera, is acceptable, albeit some of the detailing is a little oversized, but again, it's acceptable. And we also have an external fuel tank and a nice little nameplate. Continuing on, we've got our canopy parts. Now, one thing to note, and this is something I noticed almost immediately, you don't get the front windscreen that includes a hole for a rifle scope like was seen on the box art. You do get two different styles of canopies, but you don't get one with the opening for the rifle scope or the rifle scope with this kit. So that is something to be aware of, as you do have a marking option that has this, but you don't have any way of reproducing it. So that is something you should keep in mind. You may need to go aftermarket if you wish to do a 109E with this feature. Continuing on, we've got sprue with our pilot figure, which is almost identical to the one that was in the P51 kit. It's same positioning. I want to say almost exactly the same splitting on the figure. The detailing on it is acceptable, but their positioning is not that great. Kit here also comes with a single bomb and a full engine if you wish to display it open, which is a nice feature to have. We also have our main gears, or excuse me, those are actually the wing cannons. My apologies. Wing cannons got two different spinners, a rounded off and the blunt nose. Our exhaust stacks, which do have a little bit of mold lining on them, which again hopefully will show up, so that will take some cleaning up. They're not open, so that is something to be aware of as well. We've got our two synchronized machine guns and our wheel halves for the mains and our little tail wheel. Next up, as our last sprue, we have our main lower wing, which unfortunately in the main gear area has no detailing at all. This is a big disappointment, so that is something to be aware of. You will need to add any detail here. We got our upper halves, much the similar quality to the casting. The one thing I will also point out is that the pore stubs on these are fairly large, so they will take some cleaning up. Also in this sprue, we've got our engine mounts, main gear doors, and various other small odd and end parts, our air filter. Now we have our main gears and the appropriate details for them, and our cowling, which is opened, so you slide it over the machine guns. Now this is how they've done it on this is interesting, as it does give you the option to not cement it in place. You can just slide it on and off if you wanted to show the engine off. So that is a neat little addition. Give me 1 second and we will move on to the decals. Okay, now despite being an older kit, the decals I got on my copy are very nice. You've got several different marking options. All the coloring is done excellently, and overall quality of the decals is great. I've got no real complaints here, so you're pretty much on that front good to go out of the box. You've got full stencils as well as your various other aircraft markings. Moving on to the instructions. Overall, with the exception of the buildup on the engine, it's a pretty simple kit. I was actually thoroughly surprised by this, as there's no real gotcha points that could potentially trip you up. Yeah, it's very straightforward. The only things you're going to need to be aware of as far as, to watch out for is obviously working on the engine, getting that done up correctly, and so that it sits properly on its mount, and working with the canopies. Beyond that, it's a almost pure shake and bake kit. As I said, you got different options for markings, a total of 3. This is where I would say you do have a little bit of an issue in terms of just difficulty doing some of this modeling, as that's going to be a little bit of a pain to do, at very least do correctly. So that is something to be aware of. But if you got a steady hand, you're pretty good with an airbrush, or you want to take the time to hand brush all those little dots, it's definitely an option. So overall, with the exception of doing the paint schemes, I gotta say that this is a fantastic little kit. I would definitely recommend it for more novice modelers, especially if you're looking for something simple and easy you can jump into 30-second scale with. Definitely have to recommend it for that area. If you're looking into 109s, definitely look at this kit. If you're into World War II, definitely look at this kit. The only thing I would say is finding it might be a little difficult since this is an older boxing, and if you can find it, definitely look at getting it, as it's supposed to run, and again, MSRP is about $30 US. That's about what I paid for it as well. Some newer reissues are unfortunately a little bit more expensive, tending to be about 40 to 50 last I saw. But yeah, it's a great little kit. If you're looking for your first 30-second scale aircraft, highly recommend this one. You're not going to have any real issue. The only, like I said, issue I found with this kit is the lack of the proper windscreen for adding the rifle scope and the rifle scope itself. So that was a look at Hasegawa's 1/32 scale BF109E kit. Great little kit. Highly recommend it. Until next time.